Hello, hello, my magical friends. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I just wanted to come on for a minute. I'm doing a challenge with a friend of mine, Ashlyn Ray of Brown Girl Billionaire Gang. So be sure to follow her page as well. We're doing a 30-day challenge to show up on Facebook Live. And so I have a lot of really good stuff that I want to chat with you guys about. But I realized that the first place probably needs to be how I even got started doing any of this. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Benir Pierre. I am an intuitive life coach and master manifester, and the secret weapon that every boss needs. Essentially, I help leaders apply the principles of abundance to their everyday life so that they can create a fearless and intentional lifestyle. I help people live in purpose and on purpose. And so I really just wanted to come on and tell you a little bit about how I got started and share some signs of spiritual awakening with you. So in my past, I actually grew up in the church. And so most people who know me now might find that a little bit surprising. But I actually grew up Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal, incredibly religious, incredibly stuck in dogma, and my understanding of God at that time was very limited. Even though I was very religious in church every single time the doors were open, I didn't necessarily have a personal relationship with God. And when I say personal relationship, often if you do go to church, particularly if you're Christian, then you're taught that you should have a personal relationship with God. But often that still is under the lens of what the pastor says your relationship with God should look like. And so about 13 years or so ago, I realized, you know what? The way that I grew up, this doesn't fit for me anymore. The beliefs that I once had, these no longer appear true for me. And so I really went on a voyage to understand God for myself. And please know that when I say God, I mean your higher entity. And so whatever that is for you, if it's the universe, the source of all things, the source of all goodness, however you refer to God, it's God of your own understanding. And so I went on a journey to really understand God for myself outside of what the Bible told me I was supposed to believe, outside of how pastors interpreted the Bible for me. And so the more that I sought to understand and develop a personal relationship with the God inside of me, the more I began to awaken. And so essentially spiritual awakening, enlightenment, you hear people say you're woke and all of that. Essentially that just means that you're able to operate from a place of love, more love, less ego. Right? So you're able to turn off your natural tendency to react from a place of ego. There's a song that I love, and I'm not even going to butcher the name of the choir. But essentially it's saying that you are a spiritual being having a natural experience. One of my favorite songs, and it's absolutely true. We are 100% spirit. We're simply here on this natural plane, living and experiencing this existence. So again, just wanted to share a few signs that you are truly awakening to your spiritual self, and ways that you can use that. So for me, the purpose of awakening, I talk about manifestation a lot, and for me, it's a lifestyle. And so the purpose of awakening really is simply understanding yourself as a divine co-creator. And so some signs that you may be awakening. Sorry, let me roll down this window because it is hot out here. So some signs that you may be awakening. The first thing is that you stop caring what other people think about you. Like literally, your fucks go out the window. And it's not saying that you don't care about their feelings, but it doesn't matter what they think about you because you understand that that is their stuff. You take full responsibility and accountability for your stuff. And so you're able to not take on their emotions and their feelings anymore. You're also able to not try to manage their feelings. And so it doesn't really matter as much what people think about you, because you can recognize and show compassion for their humanness and understand where that's coming from. Again, your ego is no longer in the forefront. And so things that would have affected your ego no longer affect you. Another way that you can tell that you are awakening is that you become more humble. And again, that goes back to the ego. And so you're able to recognize your gifts truly as a gift and not as, oh, you're so amazing. I have been gifted with many talents. I have been gifted with many spiritual gifts, but I understand that those are gifts to me. I understand that it doesn't make me any better than someone who may not have those particular gifts. And so as you begin to awaken, you recognize that the things that were gifted to you are to help you serve humanity, to help you serve the greater good. And it isn't necessarily because you're so fantastic and special or better than anyone. It's no longer from a place of ego. Another sign that you are awakening is that you begin to show more love and compassion. Love is the highest vibration. And so the more that you're able to awaken to your true spiritual nature, the more you're able to react from a place of love for everyone. And part of that for me really began with self-love, because we know that we can't truly love anyone until we love ourselves. And so as you begin to awaken, you're able to show more compassion for yourself and for others. And you're able to truly accept and love yourself even in the midst of your crap, because you understand that your human nature is not all of who you are, and that we can still be healers, we can still be human, we can still be all of these things, and at the same time, we are not perfect. And so you're able to show more compassion to your imperfect side. With spiritual awakening, another sign is that you have more focus and clarity. So I talk a lot in my manifestation course about the importance of having clear and focused intention with inspired action. And so the more that you awaken to your true spiritual nature, the more that you have focus and clarity on the things that are really important. A lot of times we're focusing on all of these things and wasting our energy on all of these things that really don't make a difference in our life. And so the more that you awaken to your true nature, the more that you're able to recognize what's most important for you, and you can truly focus on that and see true results in your life, as opposed to wasting your energy on things that don't serve you. And again, part of that does come from releasing your ego response, because as you are able to put your ego to the back burner a little bit, it's easy to figure out the things that matter and the things that never did, the people who matter and the people who never did. The next way that you can tell that you are probably in the midst of a spiritual awakening, and there are many, many ways. There are some physical symptoms. These really are ways that you can look within and see how your personality and your energy has changed. I'll do some other videos to tell you about some of the physical signs as well. But one way that you can tell is that you focus more on connection versus attachment. So often when we are responding from a place of ego, we're focused on attachment because someone is there physically, or if we're in a relationship and we own, quote unquote, that person and we're attached in that way, that makes us feel good, that makes us feel loved, that makes us feel validated and enough. Well, when you are awakening, you realize that attachment doesn't matter so much. And so it doesn't matter to me whether you are here forever in my life or if you're here for just a day. When you're awakening, you recognize that connection is what matters. And so you create those deep and lasting connections that change your life, whether they last a season or a lifetime. I do a workshop teaching the difference between connection and attachment, but you can think of it kind of like the difference between a leash and glue. So with connection, it's like a leash. So someone is connected to you, but they still have free reign. They can go as they need to. And yes, if they get a little far, it might pull either one of you, or you may be at a standstill if you're both pulling in opposite directions. But you normally don't get hurt when someone is attached or connected with a leash. But attachment is like super glue. And so just you trying to move, even just an inch, is enough to rip you apart from each other. And so often with attachment, you notice that neither of you can fully be yourself. And this can even be attachment to things. So it's not just people. This can be an attachment to material things, but you notice that neither of you are free to fully experience the uniqueness of what you are because you're attached and you're not able to function individually. So with spiritual awakening, you realize that you focus more on that deep connection and less on the attachment. Another sign is that you are more self-aware. So one thing that I've noticed, the more awake and enlightened I become and the more that I develop and grow personally, the more my shit is called out. I had a conversation with someone and they were asking how I know when it's my spirit guides talking and, how I know that it's not just me. And I'm like, well, if it was just me, the messages would probably feel better. Normally, when I'm getting messages from my guides or I'm getting messages from the angels, it doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's saying, girl, you need to check your ego at the door. Sometimes it's reminding me, girl, you're not responsible for what happens with your clients. They're gods. Your job is only to serve. And so when you are awakening and as you are more enlightened, you realize that you're more self-aware and the messages that you get are for your betterment and not just to make you feel good. Another sign that you are awakening is the fact that you have discernment. For me, that has probably been the most important thing that helps me guide my life. Being able to recognize the energy of others and discern whether or not that's something that I can invite into my space. I'm an empath. Many of you know that. And so because of that, it's very important for me to guard my space energetically. And it's very important for me not to allow people who don't mean my highest good. And there are some people who don't even recognize that they have a nasty, funky energy. It's not on purpose. And so for me, as I am able to connect more with my higher self, I'm less concerned with the human side of how it may come off that I'm not a good energetic mix for some people, because I realize that sometimes the ego feels like you should be friends with everyone and nice to everyone. But that's not the case. You have to be able to guard your energy and recognize where your energy is affected by different people and their spirit and their energy, right? And so awakening helps you discern that energy so that you know what's a good fit. Another one is that you have more intuition, deeper intuition. You're more connected. And so it's easier for you to tell if someone is a good fit for you. You listen to your intuition more because you know that you already have all of the answers. It simply is a matter of you tapping in. Another thing that happens as you begin to awaken and you become more enlightened is that you experience more happiness and peace. And for me, that was the turning point. I feel like for many years, I sought happiness and peace outside of me. I sought freedom, which is the final sign of awakening. I sought freedom outside of me. I sought all of these things. I tried to numb my emotions with things outside of me. I tried to change my emotions by consuming things outside of me. I try to connect and attach myself to people outside of me in order to experience that happiness, that peace, that freedom. And so as I began to awaken and realize that I am a divine co-creator, realize that God is within me and that I am a spiritual being having an experience in this natural plane, I was able to have peace and freedom and happiness for the same reason that I was able to not care anymore. And so part of it is releasing that expectation and truly having more compassion and understanding that this experience that you are having, you're on your own personal journey and others are on their own personal journey. So you can release the expectation of what you want them to do and how you want them to show up in your life. And you're free to actually be that and do that for yourself. That for me was the biggest benefit of awakening. And, a lot of people will say, that enlightenment is this ultimate state that you reach. I don't know if it really is a destination or if it's about the journey to enlightenment. For me, it really is about mindfulness. For me, it's about recognizing where I am and truly seeing myself. And so, as you are on your own personal journeys, understand that this year in particular, every year is a great year for you to awaken. Every year is a great year for you to pursue your goals. But this particular year is ripe and ready for you to truly step into your greatest self and serve your greatest purpose. So I want to invite you, if there is anything that I can do to help you in this, I invite you to schedule a call with me. I am here for the woo curious, those who don't fit inside of a box, those who don't live according to the rules, those who have decided that because they don't like the hand they were dealt, they've changed the game. I'm here for those who don't color inside of the lines and those who want to create their own experience, their own reality. And so if that's you and you find that you are experiencing some of these signs and going through an awakening, I encourage you to schedule a call with me. I would absolutely love to speak with you. And please like my page. I will be back tomorrow and every day for the next 30 days, giving you these magical tips to help you truly live in your experience and grow to your best and highest self. So if you're not already following my page, Benier Pierre Intuitive Life Coach, please do so that you can get up the update. And if you are not following Brown Girl Billionaire Gang with my friend, my business bae, Ashlyn Ray, please make sure that you follow her page. For the next 30 days, we will be giving you everything that you need to both evolve spiritually as well as in your business. So I hope that you'll join us tomorrow, and be sure to run over to Brown Girl Billionaire Gang and check her out tonight, where she's going to be giving you some great tips for how to up level in your business. Have a wonderful